Hey guys, welcome to tonight's live. I have some amazing things to share with you, of course, always do. I enjoy finding things to freak you out, amaze you, all the things. But tonight is pretty simple, actually. I'm just going to share my routine with you because people always ask me, what is your supplement routine? And as a doctor, what do you recommend for people? And what have you seen? So, just a little housekeeping. I love for you guys to interact. So, please ask your questions. And if I don't get to them or I'm turned around on the board, then please just ask them again. And my amazing moderator will sometimes repost them too if I don't see them. Hi, Lisa. So, the other piece of housekeeping is if you like what I'm saying, please do the little share arrow and let people know that we're talking tonight and that they can actually talk to a medical doctor and get some questions answered if they want to. And hi, Connie. And I'm here for you guys. I show up every night at 7 o'clock. As long as you guys have things that you want to talk about, I'll keep showing up. So I love this. So please tell your friends. So every night at 7 Central Time. And if you should like something that I say, if you could tap the screen, like where's the screen tap, 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 like that sends hearts. And it also sends out some sort of algorithm that says we're here having a cool time and invites other people in as well. And I also stream on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, X, yeah, all the things. So if you ever want to find me over there, you can as well. Also, I have a link in my bio that takes you to a link tree. And that link has so many freebies that you can download information, everything from my doctor told me I couldn't take hormones to the myths and dispelling all that to if you're having hair loss, just about every symptom that you're having. I have a breakdown and explanations of what you can do about it. And then I have a whole shop page. So everything that I'm going to talk about tonight you can find pretty much everything there. There are some things that I don't have available. I'm very passionate and I've had e-commerce supplements for years. And so I'm very passionate about only the highest quality and having that available because people are going to look for it somewhere, right? So they might as well have a source they feel comfortable with. Connie says, have my saliva consult Wednesday. How do I connect? There wasn't a link. Email support today. Okay, Connie, if you would direct message me here in a little bit and I'll make sure that everything's good. But I'm so glad you got your saliva kit done and your results. And I'm super, super excited about that. So, yeah, absolutely. DM me or give them a call tomorrow when they're back from the office today, too. So I know it's been crazy getting caught up with the holidays. So what Connie's talking about is a saliva test kit. And with our program and bioidentical hormones, my passion project is to at least give every woman the chance at a conversation about bioidentical hormones and to at least know options and the truth. And if you watch any of my lives, I try to repost them and I try to really share information so that you have all the information as you're making decisions. But this is the starting place when we actually check your baseline estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and a link to order the kit is in that link in bio as well, or you can go to hormonebliss.com and my moderator will post every once in a while too how to get the kit. So super cool. And she's talking about the consult. So that is included, free shipping, and it's an easy way. You test at home. It's a saliva test. There's a very extensive questionnaire, right? And then we get on the phone and we help you with a plan to get hormones. Somebody asked me today what my projected plan for the program for Bliss is. And I said, I really like numbers. So the number 5 just keeps popping up. So I'm 55. This is 2025. And my mission is over the next 5 years to have at least 50% of the menopausal female population aware of their choices and knowing the truth. So those are my 5. So if you could support my 5s and tell everybody Tammy's working by 5s, that'd be awesome. Okay, so I want to start just with a story of my own life. And this is about you, not me, but I think some of you will see yourselves in my story, and I think it will be helpful. Tonight, we are talking about supplements, particularly over the age of 40. So hang on just a second. It's been a crazy busy day, so I did not have my correct boards up. But I just want to kind of share with you that, let's see if I can fix that a little so you can see it better. Okay, so, that's good. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is little baby Tammy coming right out of the out of the womb, just little baby Tammy. And so what I experienced at birth was I had, and we're going to do a genetics talk very soon because I get super nerdy and I love genetics and it's very applicable and I'll show you guys why that is. But a big part of the challenges that I've had are related to genetics, related to liver health, and related to understanding how things work in my body or in your body, right? Okay, so right out of the gate, I was born with a variant of something called spina bifida, and that is where actually the neural tube at the base of the spine splits. And I was born with a big defect. I don't think my fiance actually knows this part of the story, so it's the big reveal. Sorry, honey, I almost grew a tail. But I was born with a big deficit in the base of my spine, and it closed up on its own. And my mom said for the longest time, it was just like a big, I mean, you could almost put like a little wiffle ball or something in that defect in my back, but it closed over. And then also that created something else called scoliosis. So my spine is very, very crooked. If you could see an x-ray in my back, it looks like a total S. And I'm just kind of planting the seed of these issues. Now I know people don't often have like a variant of spina bifida or hypermobility, but all of that leads to chronic pain. And especially when you get out into ovarian failure time after menopause, right? Menopause is just a year without periods. So that was sort of how I started out, had terrible pain and growing pains. And I'm 5'11, so I get it. I was growing fast, right? But just terrible inflammation. And that's just kind of right out of the gate. Now, also added into that was my mom was all about honey buns and a Coke for breakfast, Captain Crunch, school lunches. I mean, that was just sort of the way our food supply was going, right? Okay. And then I always draw this graph, and you guys have seen this a lot. And this axis is hormones. So this is Tammy's hormones going here. And then after the age of 50, which is where most people go into menopause, our ovarian hormones literally flatline. So we are in ovarian failure. Have you talked about MCAS? Do you plan to? MCAS. Not sure. You're gonna have to bring that back around. Can you tell? I'm not sure what that abbreviation is. I'm thinking like maca root or something, but you'll have to. But I can talk about anything you want to. So anyway, this is sort of my life in hormones. And then this is the flat line that I'm at here. So I'm going to talk about what all the different supplements are in just a minute. But then we get into puberty, dysfunctional uterine bleeding, PCOS, endometriosis, anxiety, probably from all of that, and chronic inflammation and pain. And so I didn't know all of this could be a thing. And it was just part of who I was and how I lived. And then I had fertility issues. No big secret. I just did a talk on PCOS last night. I think I got that posted, which is actually not PCOS, it's ovarian dysfunction. Ovarian failure at 34 years old. Yes. So most women experience ovarian failure out here after a year without periods, which I always say menopause means nothing. It's just a year without periods. It's ovarian failure that we're dealing with, right? So, and then that fertility issues related to that. Autoimmune thyroid started kicking in here. I had terrible gut issues my whole life. Finally, figured out some of this stuff, was able to get pregnant. It was a complicated pregnancy, big surprise. And then I had about the age of, my son was about 4 or 5, had terrible, I just never recovered from the pregnancy hormone issues and postpartum stuff. And then I had an ovarian tumor. It was a large chocolate tumor, and it had, I don't claim this, but cancerous cells in it, but they were all contained encapsulated. So my doctor was like, nothing else needed, right? So I had the whole gamut of all these hormone issues leading to having my uterus out and an ovary. Similar problems. It's uncanny. I know, right? So it's like, this is not an uncommon story. This is kind of what a lot of women go through. I mean, I'd like to think that the majority of women don't. But unfortunately, I attract my tribe. So a lot of you guys have been through similar things, or the patients that come in my practice have experienced very similar things. So I get it. I understand. And so, out here when we're here I only had one ovary here, and then that ovary dried up on my 50th birthday. Never forget it. It was crisis mode. I remember I just was drenched in sweat, had a birthday party going on in my house. I couldn't even leave the bedroom. Every time I try to put my makeup on, it's just melting. And so I got to experience everything. And I always say God does things for us and not to us. So all of those have been not a fun ride, but it allows me to tell you that I have seen on the other side, and I'm 55 and I feel better than ever. So I'm going to share with you one of the most monumental moments of my life. Oh, and I'll mention chronic fatigue. I mean, so much that I actually, when I was in residency and sleep deprived at that, but rear-ended a semi because I fell asleep at a stoplight. So chronic fatigue, super, super big. But okay, back here in puberty, when my hormones were all going crazy, I had a moment right out, let's see, 15, 16. I got married right about 19. And I had all this pain. I had dysfunctional uterine bleeding and endometrial dysfunction, endometriosis. I mean, you name it. I mean, I was just a hormonal mess. And my son's dad at the time said, Tammy, I was still eating the honey bun and the Coke for breakfast. I was still eating Taco Bell at, the school cafeteria place. I mean, it was just like, it was crap and junk all the time. And so I went to a little clinic at the college, and I asked them to draw a bunch of blood work. My mom had rheumatoid arthritis, and I was like, there has to be something really, really wrong. So they drew hundreds of dollars of blood work, which I didn't have that kind of money back then, but I was so sick and so tired. I felt so bad. I was like, I have to do this. Well, you know how that goes. You get a call from the nurse that says, oh, your blood work's normal. And you're like, yay, not. And so that was kind of my first experience with something's wrong and nobody's listening and doctors aren't listening. And I'm a first year pre-med student, I'm like, I understand biology. I know something's wrong. I don't understand what's going on. So my son's dad at the time said, why don't you change your diet just a little bit? I'm not trying to push any buttons. And why don't you just get some supplements, just some simple multivitamin or something like that? Within about a month, I felt completely different. I mean, 100% turnaround. I was getting so I couldn't even mix a cake batter. I had so much inflammation in my hands. And if we want to call that fibromyalgia, I mean, it was just like I was so stiff when I got out of bed. I mean, it was just bad, bad, bad. So again, this isn't about me. I'm not ranting about me. I'm just hoping that some of this story, if you hear yourself in there, that this can make a big change. So this is when supplements were introduced in my life, made a huge difference. I still continue to have hormonal problems. I'm not negating that. A lot of that's genetics. There's a lot of other pieces to that. But that was the first time I really knew. I told a story the other night about my mom with rheumatoid arthritis, which is an autoimmune condition, and that she actually gave up refined sugar for about 2 years and went into remission with her rheumatoid. So I have seen dietary changes work. And I've seen in my practice over the years with functional medicine, gut dysbiosis, and leaky gut and food sensitivities, I've seen so much repair of autoimmune. So when they tell you autoimmune is for life, that is not true. Just like when they tell you these hormone issues are forever, or there's no cure, that is not true. Not true at all. Okay, so why do I want to talk about genetics here just a little bit? I want to talk about genetics here because there are 4 main processes through the liver, and you don't have to know what these are, but I just want you to understand that everybody's liver is different, and that's why everybody's genetics is different. You get a copy from mom and a copy from dad, and then you get what you get, right? And so how your body clears different chemicals, different vitamins, different supplements, how it clears toxins is relative to why some people take one supplement and they feel great and they're all over the internet saying, you got to take this, it's the best thing. And then someone else takes it and they're like, not so much. It didn't really do anything for me. It's also the reason that some people take Benadryl and it hypes them up. And some people use stimulants like caffeine and it mellows them out. People with ADD take, methylphenidate and things like that. It's a difference between why some people need a dose of pain medication that is much higher or much lower. Some people are really sensitive. That chemical sensitivity, anesthesia, all those things are all the way your liver processes things. So I say that because I don't want you to hear me talk about a supplement that I'm like, oh, this is a game changer for me. I understand the physiology of it. And you're like, yeah, I tried that before, so it didn't work for me. So she must not know what she's talking about. That information can be really helpful for you in your trial and error. And we do genetics in our office. You do not have to do your genetics to know all this, but I just want you to know that these are things that we look for when people are not feeling better or the supplements that we recommend aren't working. We can take that another level and see where you're at. Okay, so these main 4 pathways of the way your liver processes things are methylation. So I'm going to talk a lot about methylated B vitamins. I have, if you know anything about methylation, the process your body basically clears and processes hormones and chemicals and toxins and all the things. If you go to my link in bio, it'll take you to a link tree, and there is a link to a free copy of my methylation solution. And I talk all about genetics, and I'm super proud of that book. I haven't got it to print yet, but if you have ever had any weird symptoms or a bunch of this stuff that you don't understand, I think it'll be very eye-opening if you read that book. So anyway, methylation is that process. And it is also a big process in which certain B vitamins, and I'm not going to get into the genetics of folic acid versus folate, but they're very different. And that's actually one way that I know if a supplement company is quality, if they use methylated vitamins or minerals, or if they use something called folic acid. It is not the same thing. Folic acid is a synthetic version of folate. And if they don't know the difference between methylated Bs, hydroxy Bs, and things like that, I'm like, that is a cheap company. Don't get your supplements at Walmart. There is only one supplement that I get at Walmart, and I'm going to tell you guys about that in just a little bit, because it's one that really doesn't matter, believe it or not, because I use it for the side effects. I promise I'll tell you here in just a little bit. Okay, so this methylation process is very important. VDR, that is a vitamin D metabolism alteration that you can have in your DNA and your genetics. And so these people are always going to have to take extra vitamin D because your body doesn't process it. For example, we take D1 through our skin, through sun exposure. And people are always like, well, I get lots of the sun. My vitamin D is probably fine. All these myths that we're told, right, in marketing and stuff. And it's like, and just this like crap science that's handed down without really knowing everything about it. So being out in the sun and people who have this VDR alteration, which is probably about 60% of the population. So we're not just talking a rare genetic alteration, cannot convert vitamin D from their skin into the form D2 that then goes through the kidneys. The form D3 then goes through the liver and gets processed. So if your liver's not working properly, it doesn't matter how much sun you get. I mean, you can bake till you're lobster and you're always going to be vitamin D deficient, which is why I really like vitamin D testing. And vitamin D has a whole lot of other functions. I'm going to share with that in just a minute. The COMT alteration is very important for brain chemistry and adrenals. I won't get into that one, but that has a big reason why some people can take melatonin and it works for them. Some people take GABA or 5-HTP and it works for them. So that's very interesting as far as we process things. And then there's the CYP pathway, which is the cytochrome P pathway. That is the pathway that processes oral contraceptives. So some people can handle it and some people can't, right? That's why we have different pathways that can handle that, right? Which if people are on medications that don't process well through the liver, like statins, like birth control, I always recommend CoQ10. So this is when you should get your notebooks out and your pen and paper. And if you guys want me to slow down and go back to something, just let me know. But CoQ10 actually helps everything process through the liver. So that's a really good one to know. Okay. So enough about me. What do you think about me? Just kidding. Okay. So let me move this over here. And this is a hot mess. I absolutely know. I apologize. I apologize. I apologize. I will tell you everything on here. I'm going to tie up in a big, pretty bow, and I'm going to tell you what I take every day. And it is a lot. My son always teases me that, Mom, you take so many supplements, like a handful. And I say, well, baby, it's either a handful of this or a handful of pharmaceuticals. And the handful of pharmaceuticals are just band-aids. They're really not going to do anything for me. And they're certainly not going to make me feel better and have longevity and all the things. These are the things that my body needs. And every disease process is some sort of nutrient deficiency. One of the problems is that sometimes one nutrient or chemical in our environment can then make us deficient in another one, just like bromine and the different chemicals and stuff displace iodine, and like fluoride displaces iodine, which we need for our thyroid. So we have all these things against us. And that kind of brings me to the conversation of supplements. Okay. So one of the things that comes up a lot is people will ask their doctors, do I need to take, or do I need vitamins? That's the question. Do I need vitamins? And what do, I call them commercial doctors, and I am a medical doctor, but what do commercial doctors usually say? You put it in the comments what you've been told. Have you ever asked that? What have you been told? Usually people are told, you don't need vitamins. Okay, first of all, let's dissect that and just say, okay, what exactly does that even mean? Okay, so you would die without vitamins, okay? Vitamins are basically the cofactors that make every process in your body go all the way down to the DNA. What they are saying is you don't need supplements, right? So we're talking, what are supplements? Supplements are vitamins, minerals, herbs, hormones, amino acids, proteins, oils, enzymes, and biome or gut bacteria, basically. So those are supplements. So for them to say you don't need supplements, I'm not sure where that comes from. That probably comes from the people who have the most to gain to keep you sick. If you know what I'm talking about, I have to be careful because I get mixed and they don't send me out in the algorithm. So I have to be careful what I say. But I think there is definitely, being a medical doctor for almost 25 years now, I can tell you I've seen a lot. Plus I've been in the healthcare stuff pretty much my whole life, from being sick myself to my parents being sick. So I've seen everything. I've seen corruption. I've seen everything. So the narrative of big pharma replacing what God gives us, right? And we're also being bombarded by chemicals in our food supply, right? So we are totally against all odds, right? And if you go into the grocery store and you see the lettuce is white, the tomatoes are white, the radishes are pink. I mean, it's like there's no nutrients in that. And, part of that, it's very interesting to me. Biblically, we're supposed to turn our crops over every 7 years. But our food industry does not do that because it's not cost effective. And so we're not getting all those minerals that are deep down in the earth that needs to be turned over in our crops. So my argument would be, you absolutely need supplements. And the other thing is, who actually eats enough fruits and greens every single day to get all the things that you need? And especially after ovarian failure, menopause, right? When our hormones are basically in the toilet, unless we're doing supplementation. Oh yeah, Tacoma, yay, I love it. Yay, I'm so happy. But so like we are just so deficient in our hormones, in our basic physiology, that we have to do something about that. We have to take it in. And yes, there are some nutrients, and there's actually something called fortification. So what is fortification? Kind of sounds like Californication. Fortification just means that it's depleted in the allowance, which, it's so funny because the RDAs, the daily allowance criteria, has not been updated. The food pyramid has not been updated in 40 years. All that crap about how you have got to hear for your cereals and your grains and stuff is still on there. I mean, it's like, tell you about carbs. I mean, the whole thing is like carb heavy. It's just nuts. But And we'll do a whole talk sometime. I have it's called The Naked Doctor Show. I know that's a little bold, but anyway, it's on YouTube. It's a local show that we have. It is on some national affiliates, but The Naked Doctor Show, The Naked Truth about health and lifestyle. But if you go to YouTube and just Dr. Tammy Tucker, you can watch some of those shows. And I've got one on chemicals banned in other countries. And like I talk a lot about the food supply and the powers that be that make those rules. Literally, if something has orange food coloring in it, you can call it orange juice. I mean, that is how lax the rules are on that. It is, yeah, it's just crazy. It's clown world. So when they fortify foods, they're basically taking something that's crap, like Twizzlers. No, fortify Twizzlers, but I mean things like kids cereals, like Captain Crunch, right? They fortify it, and they are putting junk nutrients in there, and they're selling that as healthy stuff, and it's not, because it's like iron, right? It's not elemental iron, it's like metallic iron. I mean, it's like you can't make this stuff up. Go read it for yourself. I mean, it's like you have to kind of go a few pages down under the search, right? But it's there. So anyway, we have a lot working against us. And I am no like health Nazi. I'll tell you, I'm the hormone Nazi. I'll claim that all day long, but I'm not the health Nazi. And I do eat, I have carbs. I pretty much eat what I want. Captain Crunch. I pretty much eat what I want. And so I don't count calories. Calories are units of energy. And so I realize that. And so I look at the energy input and output. So carbs are not a unit of mass, meaning, a carb is a carbs, like you could weigh carbs or something like that. It doesn't work that way. Okay, so when we're looking at the different supplementation that we need, I like for people to think of supplementation as a very unique journey. Now, there are general things, but if you can put a set of symptoms together, which is what we do when we talk to people when they come in our program, I always say if I had a magic fairy pixie wand and I could make one thing better for you, usually, especially in women in ovarian failure, will say there's one thing, if you could fix that, I would be like so happy. And sometimes it's sleep, and sometimes it's brain fog or cognitive decline. Sometimes it's fatigue. Sometimes it's weight gain. So your body, all those things I always say are like a canary in a coal mine. Your body is telling you that in that big screaming way, that every metabolic process that surrounds that is your problem. And it's kind of like with weight loss. I have on my clinic website, I have 4 different body types. And so it's the hormone metabolism body type. So if you are fluffy all over, that's an insulin issue. If you're heavy in your hips and your thighs, then that's usually an estrogen issue. So we can tell where those primary hormone imbalances are, and we can tell where those primary nutrient deficiencies are. If you have psoriasis of the skin, you probably have a zinc deficiency. If you have bleeding gums, you probably have a vitamin C deficiency. If you're bruising really easy, you probably have an iron deficiency. So, I mean, it leaves clues, right? And that's why I love testing so much. If you're in ovarian failure after menopause and you got no estrogen, progesterone, or testosterone, then that leaves clues. You're not sleeping, you're gaining weight, you're losing your ever loving mind, you're peeing your pants, your skin's wrinkling, your hair's falling out. All the things we associate with aging is just that hormone decline. Sure. Okay, so I'm going to get into these different supplements. Okay, so for the skin, if you want the skin glow, my favorite things, and I'll go slow or I'll come back. I don't know if you guys can see this very well. Vitamin C. I met a lady one time when I was in my 20s and she was in her 40s. She looked amazing. And I was like, what's your secret? And she just, without even thinking, she's like, I take 4 grams of vitamin C every day. I'm like, I'm in. Count me in. So vitamin C is really big. Collagen. I love collagen. So I'm going to kind of start going through my stuff. And I will tell you that I kind of divide it into day and night because there's a lot. And then I try to put as much as I can into powders and shakes because this ends up getting kind of full. So I'm going to kind of tell you as I go along what I do and what's here. Acne caused by hormones. Oh, I love my granddaughter. That's so cute. Um, so yeah, so skin stuff, absolutely. I need to do a whole nother talk on skin and hormones. So that really gives me another topic. And basically hormones and acne, there are bacteria that normally live on the skin. And what happens is a lot of doctors will just put you on antibiotics. That wipes out all of the flora on your skin. And you need that good bacteria to fight the bad bacteria, or the bad bacteria is going to win over, get down in those oil follicles, get clogged, get inflamed, get infected, and then you have big pustules or cystic acne on your face. That's the end point there, right? So there are a couple of supplements that are really good for that. And one is probiotics internally. The next one is facial probiotics. There's a great research study. I'd have to look for it, but they looked at 30 different topical probiotics, and they pretty much said that the quality was pretty much the same in all of them. So I don't think you can really go wrong. I could be wrong. I haven't studied it that much, but I have seen it work for people, and especially younger kids. The hormonal influence really, if you really want to address acne without having to go to the toxic levels of vitamin A and Accutane, really is a dietary change as well. So kind of out of scope here a little bit, but that acne is a great topic. And if a female has ovarian dysfunction, which is the term I really give PCOS because that's really what it is, and you have abnormal androgens, that will cause acne too. But all that said, there's one supplement that can really help with that, and that's called saw palmetto. So if you go and you look, most of the saw palmetto will have like male themes to it because it helps block testosterone conversion to estrogen and to things that can make the prostate get inflamed. And so, but it's very good for the endpoint from testosterone to DHT, which is what actually is the hormonal influence that affects the skin. So saw palmetto, just whatever the dosing is on the bottle. But I had a patient one time and she went to the health food store. I get so many stories of people coming back from the health food store, and God bless them. They really want to help. And I think they're really motivated, but it's like, we just have a lack of true science. I'm not saying I'm the smartest girl in the world, but I am saying that there's some science that there's definitely a gap of what, we think we know and what's actually truth, or what we're just hearing and, spewing back. Saw, like a saw, SAW, palmetto, like palm tree, edo, palmetto. How do you balance or rectify the androgen issue? So I use natural progesterone, and that's what our program does. We test levels and we see where your ovarian dysfunction lies. Test it. And then we get you on natural progesterone. So yeah, palmetto. We get you on natural progesterone, and we have a whole protocol for that. So we can definitely reverse ovarian dysfunction. It is so easy, and they want to make it sound like it is so hard. Now, I'm not saying it's quick. It takes time, but the path and the protocol is really easy, and people think it's really hard and they have to suffer and live like that. And then the end point is ovarian cancer. So like, that's not cool. It's like, let's do something about it like now before. I mean, again, acne could just be the canary in the coal mine saying that there is a hormone problem somewhere. So my link in bio is where you can get the test kit, and we start everybody out through the test kit. It's just the funnel because I really want people to see what their levels are so we can have an informed conversation decision. And everybody's different and everybody needs something different. And so that's what our program does, is we individualize helping people. So I love that. So yeah, link in bio, or you can go to hormonebliss.com. Progesterone molecule is too big to absorb through the skin. The progesterone molecule is larger than the estrogen molecule. That's absolutely true. And that is why most of the time we separate out the progesterone from the estrogen. But depending on the base that it's in, we use a thinner base on the skin, so it does get absorbed really easily. Now, some people will say that because if you do blood testing for progesterone and you use a topical cream, the levels won't show up hardly at all when you draw the blood, because it's a intravascular level that they're checking. And so it appears as it's not getting absorbed. If you do saliva testing, which is what we do, it measures the intracellular level of progesterone that's absorbed into the cells, and you will get remarkably different progesterone levels. So for doctors who don't know that, they'll tell you that it doesn't get absorbed. Plus, there's all this push from the powers that be that don't want you on individualized, bioidentical, safe, organic hormone therapy and want you to on synthetics, or God forbid, antidepressants and sleeping meds and pain meds and all the things that happen after we're in ovarian failure, after a year without periods. So, that's kind of where we are. So if you want to do, the safest route is through the skin. And sometimes we'll do patches, or we'll do, different forms. I'm not a fan of oral progesterone just because the molecule is large and it does go through the liver. So, but estrogen is more of a problem through the liver. And I'm kind of rambling and digressing. So anyway, okay, let me move on from that. Okay, so for skin, fats, oils. Now we're talking about, it's so interesting because it's not the grease. We think of the skin as greasy, right? The internal fats, the omegas, the fish oils, the vitamin E, A, D, and K, those are fat soluble. All of those are the healthy oils that actually help keep the skin lubricated. You want those oils moving out of the ducts. You want that bacteria to be healthy and balance out the good and the bad. So fats are really good. I like MCT oil, which is a refined coconut oil. MCT oil or coconut oil are really good for the face, and actually really good for acne as well. Because you think, why would I put more grease on my face? My face is already greasy, but it has antibacterial properties. So coconut oil is like, and so there's a whole nother conversation about supplements like monolaurin actually has antibacterial properties. So we could do a whole nother talk on supplements for symptoms like your immune system, or when you're sick, and things like monolaurin and bromelain and pineapple root and things like that. So that's a whole nother thing. And I'll tell you, I'm not really into the herbals. I mean, it's like all that stuff is very interesting, and the whole homeopathic stuff is very interesting. I am more about the systemic. There are so many deficiencies that are facing us from vitamin D deficiency. I mean, the biggies, the iron, I mean, the hormones, the things that are right in our face. So that's the things I focus on. As a medical doctor, I think that keeps me grounded in the science too, because there's so much impact I can have here. Now, I'm not saying, I have very dear friends who are naturopaths, and I'm not saying that that's not, they don't have great things to offer, because they do. And sometimes I'll even call them when I'm like, I have this person and their immune system's been in the toilet for a month. What would you recommend? And then they'll tell me something. So that's very cool. Okay. So we've got hyaluronic acid and collagen. And I will tell you, we have a great collagen. And these are all the things I take. And because I love the things, and it just made more sense for me to have them for myself, because I get a discount wholesale. But our collagen powder is amazing. And it's got 4 different kinds of collagen in it. So, and that's in my link in bio. If you go to the store, you'll see all that, or you can go to Shop Hormone Bliss as well. And I was just talking about this last night. Has no taste, like really no taste. Like I was talking about last night, I went to Sam's Club one time and they had a collagen powder, and I was like, that's disgusting. And they were putting it in lemon water, and they were actually advertising that it has no taste. I'm like, then why are you putting it in lemon water? Okay. Oh, and one thing I want to tell you, like with my powders and stuff, this thing is the coolest thing ever. I think we sell these on our site too. Not a big product that we sell, but okay. So this is a frother. Have you guys ever seen these before? These are nuts. So they basically just spin. I don't know if you can see that, but they're really super powerful. And I can mix up a really thick protein shake with this. And then I just spray the soap on there and under the water. And like, I don't even have to wash this thing. I just like do the thing and like put the soap on there. I have that sprayed on, the foaming sprayed on. And then it has a little thing it just sits on. And then that's my cleanup. And that's pretty amazing. So I do a couple different things, and I'll show you my routine here in just a minute and put all that together. Okay. And then as far as the energy goes, your methylated Bs, your adrenal supplements, thyroid, selenium, zinc, iodine, just mostly the Bs, because like my grandparents, that generation, they used to go get B12 shots all the time. So, it's just fascinating to me how much power B12 has. And we actually do B12 shots in our office too. So, okay, brain. I'm very passionate about brain. My mom and my grandma both had Alzheimer's, and that's terrifying to me. And my cognition is very important because I run 2 different businesses, and I have a child and a life that I want to live, and a beautiful fiance who's my moderator. Mwah, I love you. And I have so many things to do, and I need my brain super active, and I'm a very driven person. And so for me to have cognitive decline, or to forget things that I told people, or to be a physician and have prescriptions to write and all the things that I do, and I have these commitments to my patients to do things when I say that I'm going to do them, I need my brain. And the number one thing, in case I run out of time, I want to make sure I get this in, that I never miss is my methylated Bs, because I have all these genetic issues. Pretty much all those genetic issues I told you about, I do have, and this brain support. So if you don't do anything else and you have any concerns about brain fog, which is very, very common, you're going to want to try this, because, it's interesting when you have supplements that you notice a difference. Like vitamin D, it might help with your depression a little bit, or seasonal affective disorder, or something like that. But when you take something and you notice when you don't take it, that's what methylated Bs are for me, because I have stomach pain. I have all the MTHFR issues. And again, you can go get my methylation solution, MTHFR freebie download, if that resonates with you. And that's my link in bio. But yeah, this is, if I don't take this, I'm like, I notice it. I so notice it. So this is a biggie. I can't tell you enough. And I'm not here just to try to sell you supplements. I'm telling you, this is a big deal if you have brain fog. Of course, hormones are the biggest thing. If I don't take this, I don't even remember to take this. So you want to take this, so you remember to take this. So okay, I'm being silly now. So what is in this? This has ginkgo biloba, and there's tons of studies with ginkgo. It's actually a herbal root, and you have to get a good quality one, because the cheap ones do absolutely nothing. So that is one, and I told you I'm going to tell you one you can get at Walmart supplement later. But that is one that you only want good quality. And there used to be one called Gink Gold, like gold. And that I did a lot of research on that. And that was actually the purest one. But ours is through a company. Our manufacturer is just top notch, methylated Bs, everything that you look for, all the quality controls, all the best practices, GMP. I mean, they're the bomb. I mean, I was very particular about putting my name on this. Okay, so it's got DMAE, which is actually a precursor to something called choline. And acetylcholine is the end point of that. Acetylcholine is your neurotransmitters in your brain that transmit information and have nerve transmission. So just so far reaching for neuropathy and all the things, but for brain cognition, very, very important that those little neurons, those synapses are firing, because if they're not firing, you know what that looks like, right? Okay. And then ashwagandha is in there. It's got glutamine. We talk about glutamine a lot for muscle health and leaky gut, erythro, and phosphatidylserine. So it's got a lot of things in there that can help with anxiety, because we know that when you're feeling anxious, it short circuits your cognitive abilities as well. So anyway, okay, so that's a really good one. Okay, hormones, of course, of course we want hormones, but to help regulate hormones, I like DIM, diethylmendolamine. That is from cruciferous vegetables, and it can actually decrease the estrone levels. And if you watch some of my talks, I talk about estrone being the inflammatory estrogen, if you will. God doesn't make a problem hormone, but when it's unbalanced, it can produce some inflammation in the body. So E3, which is the good estrogen, just like a big fire blanket, snuggles, puts out the bad intentions if E1 has any, right? So DIM is very good for that, because it blocks that estrone conversion as well. And vitamin D is actually a hormone that works like a taxi. I guess we say Uber these days, works like a taxi to take your ovarian hormones where they need to go, and your adrenal hormones as well. Okay, sleep. So a minute ago when I said genetics are at play, because some people say, oh, I tried that and it didn't work for me, or I didn't feel good on that. Sometimes that's the quality of the stuff that you're taking. But melatonin, some people say, oh, it didn't do anything for me. Well, maybe the dose wasn't high enough, or maybe it was the wrong kind, or maybe it wasn't the liposomal, so it was not getting absorbed into the system. So lots of different things there. I will say, and all this stuff is like all my stuff, I take it like every day. So this is not stuff that I can't can't really speak to. But so this is our sleep formula. I don't know if you can see it. It's pretty in pink, isn't it? So I am switching all my branding away from the red. I do like the Dr. Tammy logo, but I'm getting a little bit softer with pinks and stuff because I love pink. But so this has melatonin in it that's liposomal, so it gets right in the cells. It's got 5-HTP, GABA, passion flower, and B6 in it. So it's unlike any other sleep formula that you've probably seen. So it's super, super cool. Okay. And then inflammation. Frozen shoulder is like a thing. I always like to say frozen shoulder because there's always somebody who says, frozen shoulder, that's a menopause thing. I'm like, yes, it's a menopause thing. It's like from estrogen decline. It's inflammation, specifically in a joint that who hasn't hurt their shoulder at one time in life, right? And then you have that potential for that strain in there, and you get a little bit of inflammation, and then lack of blood flow because you don't have any estrogen anymore, and everything's drying up, including your shoulder. So it's a thing. And then MSM, hyaluronic acid, turmeric, glucosamine, magnesium. I love those. And if you have, I'm not even kidding, frozen shoulders like I am now. I hate that. Okay, so Connie, you got to get this. Not even kidding. It's joint ease. I love this stuff. This is like, you don't ever want to say miracle, but I swear, if you order this, money back guarantee. If you have joint pain and this doesn't work for you, send it back to us and we'll give you your money back. Because like, this is nuts. I mean, we have to limit how many of these we sell in the office, because they'll call and they'll want like 13 bottles. And we're like, we can't even keep it on a shelf. So it's like, we have to limit them to like 2 bottles. So I don't think the website limits you. So go crazy if you want to, but please don't. But anyway, yeah, this stuff is crazy. This has MSM. It's got turmeric in it. It's got collagen in it and hyaluronic acid. And I think the hyaluronic acid is probably the biggest thing in there that has the most impact. But like I had back strain from something, probably lifting heavy. And like literally that night, my back strain was gone. My fiance strained his shoulder, like taking the pool cover off. And like within a couple hours, like he was like, I can't even go to the gym. And then he was like, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I'm like, I know. And I have people that have like gotten out of knee surgeries and all sorts of things. So this stuff's nuts. Website. Okay. It's, if you go to my link in bio, there's actually a shop page there, but the actual website is Shop Hormone Bliss. So Hormone Bliss is our main hormone site. And then Shop Hormone Bliss is the e-commerce side of that. But go to my link in bio and all roads lead to Rome. All of them go right there. So this is so cool. I love this stuff. Will we see quick results with? Yeah. And not everything works for everybody. So I'm not saying that like it's an end all be it all, but I'm saying if it doesn't work for you, send it back and we'll give you your money back. Because this is nuts. So like I would say probably, if I had to guess, I'd probably say 95% of people, it's like amazing and they're canceling knee surgeries and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, but we love it. I mean, like I say, my manufacturer, we can't even hardly keep it on the shelf. So I could probably just do this, have a business just on this, but I'm way passionate about hormones because like it's my thing. It's my passion. So it's what I'm meant to do. Okay. So anyway, fitness and metabolism, that comes up a lot. And I actually did have, and I have to be careful what I say. So I actually did have a company that addressed just this one time. And then I realized that without addressing hormones, nothing else mattered. So I knew that was my gift and my mission. So I've moved back into the space I am now. Okay. And chromium, magnesium, the B vitamins, we have like weight loss shots in our office that have like methionine and inositol, choline, all those kinds of things on. So it's very, very good for that. Gut health. So enzymes, probiotics, prebiotics. So, and I'll share what I do because I don't like probiotics. They make me feel weird. I don't know if you guys have ever had that experience. But because most of the serotonin, which is your happy hormone, is made in your gut, if your floor is off, or if you take too much of the wrong kind of, even if it's a healthy probiotic, it can really throw your mood off. So this is the way I do mine. And this has prebiotics, are just the fiber, the leafy greens that the probiotics feed off of to be healthy. And so our fruits and greens have like all the things that your daily allowance for fruits and greens would have in it, and optimize, not just what the FDA says you should have, right? Or the RDA stuff. I mean, it's like more than, because it's like what you actually need to be optimal, not just what prevents disease, right? So yeah, so this has like all the things in it. It's just freaking amazing. And then what I do is I put my collagen with it and my detox powder, and so that's pretty amazing. Okay, bones. So I told you guys in the kind of teaser today that I would tell you a supplement that you absolutely should not take. And I'm going way against the grain with this, but do not take calcium supplements. Get your calcium in your food. Don't get your calcium in your dairy, because there's like, it's junk fortification in there. When I say fortification, they just took crap and like put it in there. There's synthetic, like there's synthetic bees and stuff in there. Just it's bad. And it was one of the biggest lies they ever told the dairy industry, that you drink milk to get vitamin D. I mean, it's just a micro amount. I mean, it's just marketing. But yeah, so calcium displaces iron. And I have so many women who we have like tried to get their iron levels up, and they're even taking iron supplementation, and their hair's falling out. And it's because they're taking chalk calcium supplements, those big chunky things. If you don't have adequate estrogen and you don't have adequate vitamin D and your thyroid's not functioning, that calcium is going to deposit in your arteries, in your heart, in your liver, in your thyroid, in your breasts. I mean, in your ovaries. We know that when we see on MRI or mammograms, a problematic breast cancer will have what they call calcium spiculations in it. So the thyroid can get calcium spiculations, and that is an indication that it's potentially cancer. So, and it's calcium that blocks up the arteries, right? So if that doesn't have all the other things that it needs to get into the bone, that's super bad. But you need calcium from your foods. So raw calcium, I'm not sure exactly what that is. You might have to DM me and share that with me. But as far as those like clunky things that are hard to swallow, the big calcium tablets, do not do this. Okay. And heart, I love oils, methylated bees, and there's something called TMG. High blood pressure, I'm not telling anybody to stop any medications, but high blood pressure is not a cardiac problem. High blood pressure is a vascular elasticity problem, and most of that comes from tension through the portal vein in the liver. So that's another talk for another night. I totally have to do cardiac. Oh, I might even do that tomorrow night. I don't know. Cardiac is fascinating to me. Okay, so anyway, okay, so I am going to turn this around and tell you everything that I do. Let's see, where is that? Yeah, okay. I'm like the adult professor. I'm like all over the place here with this stuff. Okay, so this is Dr. T's routine. So this is what I do. So 6 a.m. I wake up, I do my prayer, my gratitude journal, Bible reading, all that kind of stuff, because that is the best nutrition that you can get for the day. I can't even tell you, right? Okay, so 7:30, I work out. I don't do a whole lot. Oh, do cardiac? Okay, let's do heart tomorrow night. That'd be awesome. Okay, and then I don't do a lot. I do strength training, and I'll share my whole workout routine with you. Sometimes I do that little balance board for core strength. Love it. Okay, at 8 o'clock, I go upstairs and then I do my detox powder. And oh my gosh, I will do a whole thing on liver some night. But this has all the things that help those genetic things, those BDRs, those CMTs, those COMT, the CYP pathways, the methylation pathways. So this is all the things. And it has a high protein content in it. So I think it's like, I have to get my glasses out, but I think it's like almost 25 grams of protein. Yeah. 15. Okay. So just 15 grams, but that's a pretty good amount of protein for the day. And you could do 2 scoops if you want to, and then you get 30 grams of protein. So I do that. And then I do these. I do the chocolate, kind of backwards here. And then I love chocolate mint ice cream. So this is the chocolate mint fruits and greens. I love this stuff. And so I just put this and this, and then I put my collagen powder in there. And then I mix it up with my little handy dandy frother that's like super powerful. And then I put about 2 teaspoons of MCT oil, coconut oil, because it's good for the brain. And so that's kind of my powder drink that I do. And then as far as my supplements go, I have my morning and my evenings. And so also I do my hormones, which is my estradiol and my estriol. Okay. And then I do another one. I don't have it down here, but pregnenolone. Pregnenolone is sort of the wild card that can become any other ovarian hormone. So I kind of do that little extra just so I can be like, oh, maybe my body needs some extra testosterone today or some more estrogen today. And pregnenolone is like, hey, I'll do that for you. Let me just pop over in the liver and we'll just do a little quick change behind the screen and I'll come out as estrogen. So that's fun. Okay. And then DHEA and testosterone, love it, love it. So I think every woman in the world should have at least that informed consent about testosterone because we need it. We actually make more testosterone than estrogen. And so to have the conversation when we're in ovarian failure after menopause, that we don't need testosterone is criminal, absolutely criminal. Okay, so I'm done. I'm on my own. Okay. So I do my brain support, my joint support, my D3 with K. K actually helps the D3 get into the cells. I do my methylated Bs, my vitamin C, and my multi. And so all these are on our site too. This is our multi-metabolic with the big multi-pack because it's got joint stuff and fish oil in it. So I kind of alternate that to get my fish oil. But this is amazing. This is the metabolic pack because it helps with all things metabolism. So it's got iodine for your thyroid. It's got the cholines and the insulin regulators and sugar stabilizers and all the things that help with weight loss too. So that's a cool one to have. Okay. And then I already told you about vitamin D. And then I told you about the methylfolate. And I know it sounds like a lot, but by the time it gets in my box, it's not that bad. It does look like a big handful. This is actually empty. I haven't even filled for this week. So you can see in there, there's not a whole lot on Wednesday. And I haven't even filled for my evenings. So, okay. I think that's about it. Questions? You guys good? Okay, so we'll do heart tomorrow night. And 7 o'clock, I'm here every night at 7. Please tell your friends if you think this is helpful and share with them. And I always do a post video to kind of tell you what I'm talking about, a little teaser. And you can actually register. So it's kind of cool. I just like to see if you guys are going to come hang out if you register. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And then we have subscriptions too. So subscriptions fun because like if, oh, they're going to kick me off here. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm behaving, I promise. Okay, cool. But yeah, collagen and MCT oil. Yes, I love MCT. You got to be careful MCT. It can upset your stomach a little bit. So you kind of have to, what we call titrate, start low and go slow because it'll kind of make your belly gassy and stuff. So it's not harmful. It's just not always pleasant. So, okay. So hormones. I always want to get this little plug in because I'm so passionate about this. And oh, creatine. Yes, creatine is, I have some and I didn't even bring it down. That's sort of my pre-workout. I don't do it if I don't do anything real aggressive with workout that I'm kind of going to need it. But creatine is interesting because it can actually make your creatinine, which is a kidney function test, go up. And I really have to watch it in my male patients. I don't have a whole lot, but my male patients because they'll take a bunch, go work out, and it pulls water into the muscle, which is nice because it helps shred, right? Or whatever they call that. But it can be a little hard on the kidney. So we have to be careful. But women actually respond very well with creatine. And if you want to build muscle, you absolutely need some testosterone. But if you want to build muscle, it's just a great way to really, if you're really working out hard and you really want to see that definition. And I always love it when I can see that little line right there. Oh my gosh, that's the best thing ever. So I identify with somebody who likes a little line in the bicep. Okay, or tricep, I guess that is. Okay, so hormone kit. link in bio. It'll take you to my link tree. All these supplements are in there. And I just, I love everything that I take. And again, not everything is for everybody. So if you take it and you don't notice it, it could be something that your body just needs and it's not a symptomatic deficiency. So some of these things you do just because you know that it's helping you. And then some of these things like the joint pain stuff, because you hurt and you need some help. Okay. So test kit, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. You fill out this sheet, has all your symptoms on it, free shipping, and also included is a visit with one of our hormone experts who will then talk to you about what your labs look like and what a plan looks like. And we even make supplement recommendations. So it's all individualized and we work with you. And I always say we always get it right. And always get it right the first time, but we always get it right. So we hope that you're as committed to us as we are to you to stay the course, because everybody's body is different. Okay, so yeah, so do that. Oh, and I got it. I'm so proud. My second edition of the Balancing Act book is out. And one of the coolest things about this is it actually has places you can make notes in there, which is super cool. So if you want a hard copy of this, that's in my link tree. It's on Amazon. You can order it there, or there's a free copy in an ebook download, so you don't even have to pay for it. But I like paper. I like books. It just feels good, and it's all in color, so it's super fun. Okay, I've rambled on enough. I love you all so much. Please have a wonderful night. Any questions that you have, please feel free to direct message me. And I love to be able to respond. Someday I'll probably have too many to respond to everybody, but I'll be hiring some social media folks here too soon. So pray for me. Okay. Love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.